Well, hello there, my friends. We're going to be playing a quick game here of Terminal Conflict. It's actually been a while since I have played the game, so I kind of want to see what they've added. I know they've added new events, new leaders, things like that, and just have some fun. Now, it's pretty hard to win as the Soviets, almost impossible. So I'm going to try again to win as the Soviets and see if we can't score a victory here. Hopefully we can, but again, it's a tough one, and I don't mind saying that. So starting off, we have to choose where we want to begin spreading our political influence, and I'm actually going to choose East Asia. I think here, over here in China. This is kind of the best thing to do right now, is to go ahead and confirm that our focus management is going to be East Asia. We really want to get as much power here as possible, and I think if we do this early enough, we might be able to get Mao. So let's do it. Usually I start with the Middle East, but I'm doing something somewhat different here. And now for influence, nice. So I think, actually, look at that. North Korea, we can bring that into our sphere of control already. That's pretty great. And our sphere of influence is already really strong here. I want to see what this is. So the harmonization of ideas, gain 1 victory point for each elite interest you currently have. All right. I thought these were the elite interests. We'll have to wait and see. Another thing I'm going to do is go ahead and drop our tank here. And I will check here in State Affairs to see if Mao Zedong is ready to rise, but I don't think so. I think we might be able to get Kim Il-sung to rise, though. So let's take a look here. East Asia. Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead, guys. We're recruiting Kim Il-sung, leader of North Korea. Communist ideologue, the supreme leader fights notably and tenaciously for the sake of Korean independence. Even if one must question his claims that he was born in the heavens and neither urinates nor defecates. And yes, these are actual claims that at least his party used to make. So let's see if we can't take perhaps all of Korea. I think that's going to be my goal here. And interesting, what's this? Juche. Suspend 2 military to gain 1 people. That's really useful, actually, because a lot of times in this game, you know, you lack people or you lack military, and there's not necessarily many ways to regain those, except, you know, just waiting. So that's kind of interesting that we can use him to do that skill. Now, unfortunately, as far as I can't tell, we cannot spread influence. Like most other leaders can actually spread influence. Doesn't look like we can do that with Kim Il-sung. Let's go ahead and use Juche. Now the issue is we have political power issue. Hey, Alex, good to see you. And hello, Captain Von Ondine. This is fairly new. I've had it here for quite a while on the channel, in beta, but yeah, the game itself is fairly new, I think, in terms of release. Let's jump into State Affairs and see what other... Yeah, so it's weird. Fidel is not currently available. I guess he doesn't exist yet. Let's jump into East Asia again. And there we go. So we've taken Upper Mongolia. And again, this area doesn't seem too important. But the issue is that despite there being like the People's Republic of China here, this is early on in the Cold War. It's not very well developed. So there's a lot of Western interests here, including, you know, the Army of the Chinese Republic, things like this, Chiang Kai-shek. So we have to worry about that. I want to get into central China here. And again, I'll keep checking State Affairs. Okay, guys, here we go. So we can check over here, basically the victory points split between us. And again, as I said before, it's really hard to win as the U.S. I mean, excuse me, the USSR. It's quite a challenge. So if we could win as the USSR, I'd be quite happy. That's actually interesting. I've never started off a turn with an actual plus over the Americans. So now we have to focus on another area to go to. Robert says, I neither urinate nor defecate. I live on fresh air and love making. Like that. Also, don't forget, guys, everybody shows up for these YouTube streams, which I really appreciate, but nobody shows up for Twitch, and seriously, just add me there, because most of the time when I'm streaming on Twitch, and we have just a lack of viewers there. It's frightening. All right, let's confirm. So at this point, choosing a new focus, and I'm actually thinking of going either for the Middle East or heading back to Southeast or to South Asia. Not necessarily sure. Let's go into South America is not a bad idea if we can get Juan Perón to rise up. But, you know, we don't usually focus on Western Europe much. This could be a good time to get a hold in Western Europe. But also would take... Actually, we're going to do Middle East. Yeah, definitely a good time to get a hold in the Middle East. The 26th of July movement, guys. This is, of course, the Cuban revolutionaries. For years, palpable energy has infused the hard-pressed Cuban populace. Sentenced for treason after the ferocious but futile attack on the Moncada barracks outside Havana, a young revolutionary lawyer, Fidel Castro, has gone into exile and is building a disciplined guerrilla movement. His resonating apology that La Historia me absolverá, which is history will absolve me, reflects the anxiousness of his people, their direction unknown and final end uncertain. And it is time of jagged suffering and hardship among the ruins. Since the end of the Great Patriotic War, a Soviet military administration holds power in the German sector of the Central Europe Eastern Zone, seeking a transformation to a socialist society and reparations for the crimes of the defeated Nazi regime. Intelligence services sent from Moscow hunt down prominent German offenders and scientists. And the Granma yacht expeditioners, Odysseus-like trials, and Air Force patrols alike failed to stop revolutionaries led by Comandante Fidel Castro from returning to Cuba. Landing close to where the Caribbean islands' independence war heroes of 61 years prior had, the combatants stand as living standard proclaiming on home soil for all to see, Viva la Revolución, Viva la Cuba. Beautiful. Alright guys, so right now, Eastern Europe, the fate of Germany. So Germany's no more. How should we proceed? We can try and gain people, and I'm trying to look and see what we need, and we actually need people, and we also need government. So we're going to use this, get rid of some of our elites in an effort to generate more of that. So I think it's going to help a lot, quite a lot. At this point, we want to go ahead and look at Eastern Europe, or excuse me, Western Europe. But we can't get Joseph Broz Tito yet. However, in Africa, we can get Dedan Vakuri. So I'm actually going to go ahead and recruit him and see if we can't turn some of these states towards us. We can actually get Mozambique to turn towards us. But I think instead, I'm going to go ahead and use his skill up. You know what? We're going to use the KGB to try and get Mozambique to join us. Beautiful. Just to start in Africa. Of course, we want to spread all around the continent. But it's going to take a little while. So, let's see. Operation Oswavakim. I located key researchers and their families and readied them for relocation to Soviet facilities, requesting immediate response. Let's see. So, this is weird because here we get +2 military but -1 influence. Over here we only get 1 military, so I'm guessing, and I could be wrong here, this is just total speculation, that by taking the lesser one here, we're going to maybe get a benefit to influence in Germany later? I don't know. Then again, holding a war crimes tribunal, or giving jurisdiction to the war crimes tribunal is going to increase our people, which we also need. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take the first one. What the hell? Okay, so Vakuri at least delivered his last speech before being gunned down, but hopefully that's going to make it easier to take this area here. The German political machine. Loyal representatives of the local communists have approached us, inquiring if the political landscape allows for the creation of a Soviet-modeled Germany. Aha, I like that. And we can get rid of some of our elites to make that happen. This is what we really need, is we have to found loyal regional administrators because we lack government here. So we're going to go ahead and do the first. The fires of rebellion are rising in the Soviet-occupied German territories. The resources, industry, and manpower of the region have been and continue to be exhausted without scruple, and the country is left desolate. The Soviet Union has shown little interest in giving their new subjects a bright future outlook, and will have to keep them in shackles, lest industrial sabotage turns into open revolt. An uneasy peace has settled in the Soviet-occupied territories of Germany. Modern living standards continue to be made slowly but steadily, and the civilian life in the region is returning to relative normality under the watchful gaze of Red Army forces and communist law. One step at a time, boys and girls. One step at a time. Hey, David, how you doing, bud? So, guys, David here actually works for the company that has this game, that creates this game. I believe you're quite high up there, aren't you, David? So, if you guys have any questions, yeah, man, this is definitely the time to ask, for sure. I see you guys have added stuff, David, since the last time I played. Really, really cool, man. I love it. Let's do another false flag over here. Try to get Ethiopia. This is not Ethiopia, is it? Yes, it is. This is Ethiopia. This is not. So I was right there on the first time. The founding of the GDR. All right. Requesting urgent response to address uniform manufacturing for the planned parade in East Berlin. We actually need our elites. So we're going to say we're all soldiers of the Soviet Union. And I'm definitely going to send in a tank here. I'm actually going to send it to Italy. The British Mandate, Leviathan Zone, UK. Claimed by both Jews and Arabs as their own territory, the British are now struggling to keep stability and the balance between the two rival factions. So this is, of course, going to cause problems in the Middle East, which we want. So we actually get to place 3 influence. I'm immediately going... I really actually want Egypt to join us, but we'll get Israel-Palestine to join us. And we'll try to get Nasser to rise up in Egypt to bring Egypt under the fold too. I recommend a scheme for further securing the Suez Canal in Egypt by denying imperialist Britain and USA access to or in the Arab world. And I like this first one just because we're going to get 2 influence. But I'm actually going to agree with Molotov. The reason being... Actually, no, I'm not going to agree with Molotov because of the -2 to government. Let's reprimand Molotov for his help advice. -2 power. I don't understand what FP is. My goodness. Shame on me, man. I think I'm going to reject it. We still get 1 influence, which I like. And, of course, bringing that up to 4, it's going to be very tough for the capitalists to bring that area under their control again. But I do want to see if Abdel Nasser can rise up. He could really help right now. Yes! Let's go to Abdel Nasser. And, again, our main goal here is pretty much Middle Eastern revolution. It'd be also a great idea to bring in a tank over there to Iran and pretty much get the Iranian revolution going pretty early here. And again, just keep on boosting there with Nasser's speech. He's going to be able to bring Egypt over to our side. Okay, guys, let's see how the victory points did here. I think it's usually turn 2 where the capitalists start to overcome, but we're staying pretty close. We still have a lot of work to do, obviously. So I'm seeing that the capitalists are taking Central America. That's a cause for concern. We're not really doing much there. And also South America. We need to do something about this. So I think now what we're going to do is actually focus on South America. We can't win with a nuclear victory. I looked. But what we can start doing is actually focusing on nuclear technology, etc. We lack something here to do it. Maybe we just need to do our focus management first. Now, also South Asia would be a pretty great place to start. Actually, I'm going to go to South Asia. I forgot we've got Ho Chi Minh here. So we can try to bring, of course, Vietnam under the fold. And he's got some very interesting abilities here. Gain 1 influence in all regions without control. Doomsday decreased by 1 for each. So we only have 1 region out of our control, really. This area is very, very much a fellow traveler with communism. They're not totally communist, but you can see not a single one of them except for, well, actually, there's of course, over here, we've got the Malaysian zone. That's sort of capitalist. The rest is pretty much kind of coming towards us, which is great. Let's go ahead and try to bring Vietnam under our beautiful leadership. And we've also got this, the regime of peace and love. Gain 1 influence in this theater and 1 globally. Now that's what we want. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, the thing is, we don't get to pick specifically where that influence goes. I believe it went here to Eastern India. But it would be kind of cool if we could pick specifically where it goes. Let's do some false flags. And there we go. Vietnam. The war of Vietnam has been won in 1961. It makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and jump to State Affairs to see if we can get Nehru. No, not yet. Not quite yet. What we are going to do, guys, is launch our first satellite. That's going to be Sputnik, and that will actually also give us some victory points. Get us closer to total victory. I'm also going to go over here and do the nuclear research. It's going to cost some military, but I think it's important to show the West that we're willing to fight. Let's go ahead and try to do a false flag in East India. Didn't work out too well. That's too bad. Five-year plan. Spend 1 finance and 2 people to permanently gain 1 victory point at each timeline for the remainder of the game. Wow. We can't really give up finance as far as I know. Well, yes, we can. Let's do it. So we're going to do our good communist 5-year plans, and that's going to give us some victory points alone. That's pretty fascinating. Comcon gained domination on controlled East European region, and that would be West Germany. Or, actually, it might be East Germany, because even though it's a puppet of ours, it's not technically completely Soviet. So maybe we need to go ahead and bring them completely under the fold, and then we go into West Berlin and take that back as well. That would probably really hurt the enemy, but I'm not sure how much. Now, what I would love is if one Perón could rise up now, but I don't think he can. So we got to find other ways to bring people under our control here. Yeah, we have no friendly Central American leaders. Trying to get some information. Let's take a look here at the chat. How do I like Terminal Conflict? I really like it. I really enjoy it. I'm happy that, you know, you guys managed to make an actual strategy game based on the Cold War. It's something that I think, you know, hasn't been done before. I think there's definitely things that could be improved. But, you know, I've seen what you guys have done in the past with, you know, adding leaders, stuff like that. I saw you guys added the Cuban movement. I just think you just need to keep adding that sort of stuff. Keep adding a number of factors to really make, like, I guess, victory achievable by, like, a number of different factors. Like, right now, the only time I got a Soviet victory... Actually, I haven't gotten a Soviet victory now, but there was a point when I could have gotten one because I had more nukes than the U.S. But, you know, I was trying to go for the influence victory. So I think there's just, like, there should be, like, a bunch of different ways to win, pretty much. Maybe even some bad things that could happen. Like, each turn, you could potentially have, like, a negative thing occur. Lose some influence in a place, like a terrorist attack that's blamed on your party or something like this. Okay, we're going to fire Laika up into space. Goodbye, Laika. We have launched our first animal into orbit. Yes, we have. I think we're going to go ahead and end the turn there, although we can still... What's this? Invert your people interest count? Very confused. Okay, so with Abdul Nasser, what we'll do, go ahead, and Egypt is now under our control. This is beautiful. The British cannot travel through the Suez Canal. It's completely ours, and obviously that's going to affect world trade pretty severely for them. Now, I'd like to move in some military units into Iran. And hopefully we don't have disarmament here because we want to bring Iran under the fold. Ho Chi Minh has fallen from power. No, not the great Ho Chi Minh. Let's see how we're doing on victory points, guys. Now, we're actually far ahead of the U.S. In terms of the space race. But I think victory point-wise, they're doing fine. All right, guys, moving into 61 to 66. I would love to do music of the time period accompanying this video, but YouTube will probably flag us. Hey, Strategy Mill, how you doing, guys? Thanks for stopping by. By the way, folks, I really appreciate everybody coming to this stream. The thing is, like, when we do streams on YouTube, we have a lot of people show up. But where we mostly stream is right there on Twitch. So I'd appreciate it. Any of you guys that regularly stop by here on the streams and like to watch these, please sign up there. I know some people don't like to sign up for Twitch, but I promise it takes like 2 minutes at the most. You can spare 2 minutes for me, please. I beg of you, my friends. Again, and the reason being, most of our streams are there. I do like to do streams on YouTube as well, but it's just a lot better on Twitch. There's a lot more options. It looks better. Let's be honest. Sorry, YouTube. I think I'm gonna jump into Middle East. The Pacific I never mess with. Ever. But right now, and I'm guessing this 13 percentage point could potentially be the victory point. So, in other words, we could maybe go for West Berlin, but I think that's just going to be too hard. That's really going to be tough. And Central America is completely lost. I think we have to go into South America and really hope for the best. Disarmament. Okay, so we can't have one Perón rise up, but we do have some influence here. 2 influence. Ooh, that's bad. We've got to try and get Argentina to revolt. It's just the way it's got to be. Unfortunately, I don't believe we can have one Perón rise up here. Yeah, we might need to look around to see what special abilities we have and potentially even focus on other zones here. We could actually get the Italians, slowly but surely. We could try to bring them towards our side. I think it's a bad idea. and actually Italy, I should say, after World War II, has probably one of the largest communist parties in all of Europe. Even to this day, Italy has a massive, massive communist party. Let's take a look here.
Arms race.
Oh, we got 15. Nice. Welcome, boys. Let's see if Kim Il-sung can give us any abilities. I don't think so. So we'll keep on boosting power here. So strategy mill, if you guys are still watching, one thing I wonder, what's the best way for us to gain government? Right here, on the far right side. That's what I always have issues with, and I guess maybe it's just getting leaders. I'm guessing that's the way it is. But currently we do have Kim Il-sung. Let's see if we can get any other leaders here. Let's get some bomber command. It's going to be very expensive, but it's going to be a nuclear, actual nuclear arsenal here that we can use. So I'm going to drop bomber command over here. Show them that we're willing to weaponize China. Okay, let's get Beijing under our control, folks. Here we go. Boom. And that's what I'm looking for. Okay, at least northern China is under our control. Yeah, definitely, David. Italy always had that communist leaning, you know? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Even when you look at, like, Italian-American immigrants, they were kind of the first to start the labor movement in the United States, you know, really the first to get unions going, the first to, was it the Haymarket riots? I think it was the Haymarket riots, to demand, you know, an 8-hour workday. So yeah, absolutely, the Italians have always been really, really good at that. And when I was in Italy, I always got that feeling that Italians, like, you know, here in Portugal, people are more like, what's the best way I could put this? More mild in their sentiment. Like, they'll be like, oh, you know, Portugal's all right. It's not the greatest place. But Italians, I noticed, were always like, they were critical of Italy, but in terms of what they thought they should receive, like, from the state and in their country, it was always, like, the best of the best, which I think is a good way of looking at life. You should always, like, expect the best. I mean, obviously, my outlook is always expect the worst, but I think Italians' outlook is expect the best, and, you know, in that way, they're not really happy with, like, a mediocre product, which I think is kind of cool, or a mediocre government system, you know, etc. If they're going to support something, it's got to support them back. Let's take a look here, folks. Where do I want to go? Maybe the Middle East? Yeah, we haven't done the Iranian Revolution yet. I think we will actually jump into the Middle East. Let's bring Iran under the fold. And we should be able to get Al-Assad to rise up. Now, this is the issue I have. So what we're lacking... Yeah, we're lacking government. Let's see if Strategy Mill responded. Just like all other interests, you select that at focus selection. Oh my gosh. So in other words, over here, I see what you mean. I totally see what you mean. See, I did not notice this before. So I'm guessing each time you go into one of these zones, right now in the Middle East, it's focusing on like on finance, if I'm not mistaken, but it's not necessarily focusing on government. Yeah, I think I get it. Wow. All right, little mistake there, going to the Middle East. We can still bring Iran under the fold, so that's good. But yeah, we should probably pick something that would give us a government boost. Okay, Kim Il-sung has fallen from power. I believe that means Kim Jong-il is up next. And I will bring in a tank. I'm also going to jump into State Affairs, sorry. Ooh, strategy mode. When we next go into that, I want to take a look close just to make sure I'm getting it. Hey, Blue, how you doing, man? Hey, how you doing, gamer? Good to see you, man. Looks like it's time to dig up Mussolini's corpse, says Alex Gorkiewski. The comments on any of these political videos are always so much better than any other gay games we play. Don't forget, guys, please, you want to do me a favor, subscribe to me here on Twitch TV. It's the best thing you could do if you want to help out. All right, state affairs. I had to check. I had to check. We don't have enough nukes to beat them. Alright, just gonna keep boosting power here. Whoa, what just happened? Oh, I think that was just... I think that was an overlay issue there. I got really scared. I thought the entire Middle East just completely changed. It's not good. Let's see if we can do anything here to gain government. I don't think so. Ideological sympathizers. Gain 1 victory point for each people interest your opponent lacks from the maximum 9. And socialist fraternity is opponent loses 1 government if their government interest is below 5. They just are so strong here in North America. I don't see any of those being useful, honestly. Like 5s in terms of... They would never turn to communism. Just never. Oh, nice. We can actually drop some troops in Africa. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So let's go for Somalia. We can also go for Angola, which is a Portuguese colony, but very, very left-leaning. So let's actually do a false flag attack here. We're going to try to bring Angola into the fold, and we got her. Beautiful. All right. Boom. So our next focus definitely has to be government. I'm going to jump into focus management, because usually what I do when I do focus management, I just click one of the countries and jump in, pretty much. So maybe I'm missing something over here on our focus as well. We'll take a look on the next round. All right, let's go. Yeah, actually, we can completely take away Western influence from this area. That's probably not a bad idea either. I think we want to spread this around. Let's go ahead and see if we can't drop some units here. No? We're lacking. Boom! Seductive solidarity. I love that. That works. So that really brought some countries into the fold. And yes, we can bring in our tanks. Beautiful. So we can totally take over Southeast Asia here, I think. Having Nehru rise up, though, would really be perfect. And I just don't think that's possible right now, unfortunately. Okay, guys, let's see the victory points. It's a lot closer than usual, I will say that. And again, it's a real challenge to win as the Soviets, but it's definitely a lot closer than usual. Nonetheless, we're still losing on victory points. Got to do a lot if we want to bring this back. And I mean a lot. So something that's looking potentially appetizing is over here, Southeast Asia. I mean, well, would this be Oceania, I think would actually be the correct term. This kind of looks appetizing. Let's take a look here. Belusia Puglia intensifies, says Alex. Nice. Alright, so let's jump into that interest tree, just to make sure we understand what we're doing here. I see. Interesting. See, I did not see this at all before. So we can completely select the interest focus. And some of these areas are not going to have that government interest focus we need, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's tough. I think we'll go for Middle East. Yeah, let's go for the Middle East.
Arms race.
And over here, there's an arms race going on, so we'll actually be gaining, or actually, I should say, we won't have to get any troops out of this area. You know, they're they're more than welcome to stay here and try and influence these regions. So we really just want to try and bring the entire Middle East under our control. Let's go ahead with the guards, rise up, and liberate central Turkey. But I think this one right here, Western Turkey, Anatolia, is going to be the one that's most important to actually liberate. So let's take our tank here, move over. I'll see if we can have al-Assad rise up, and I believe we can, Hafez al-Assad. But again, I think it's a lack of power we have here, a lack of that government power, so we might have to wait a few turns. But I believe that we will eventually be able to have him rise up. Let's take a look here. Yeah, what about... Ooh. Let's get Che Guevara. Nice! In South America, guys, we got Ernesto Che Guevara. And we're actually going to try to influence Argentina. And for those of you that don't know, Che Guevara was originally born in Argentina. Although he helped with the Cuban Revolution, a number of others. Wow! He fell quickly. Okay, so we're going to have my favorite leader of all time, Salvador Allende, rise up. Oh, no! Salvador Allende cannot rise up. We're going to need that government power to have him do that. But yeah, I think South America is one thing we want to do. You just want to try and, like, wrest control from the enemy. Especially in, like, areas where they have a tremendous amount of power. It's not a bad idea to try and, even though they're, like, you know, like, 70 or 80% of the region, to try and wrest some of that control away so they don't gain as many victory points on the next turn. That's kind of what I'm thinking here in Western Europe, that we might be able to do, might be able to accomplish.
Disarmament.
By the way, Strategy Mill, I noticed that Fidel is, or I should say, Che is new, if I'm not mistaken. Well done. It's amazing how much the West has control here, and it's because of Japan primarily. Japan and South Korea, they just have so much control in the China region when they really shouldn't. In the East Asia region here, we've got Mongolia, we've got most of China, but they still control a heck of a lot. All right, let's see these victory points. CIA killed him, says David. Yep. Yep. I mean, he went down probably the most badass of any leader in terms of being able to fight back. When Pinochet was attacking his presidential headquarters, you know, he pretty much got his AK, hid behind his desk, and just kind of accepted his fate, you know, that he was going to die. There's really no way out of that. Okay, so we're going to have to do a focus. Okay, yeah, actually, we will do a military focus. I think Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia. If we go to the Pacific region, I'm taking a huge risk. The only reason I'm thinking of going here is because the enemy has a tremendous amount of influence. No, South America. South America, but we can't do South America. We can't because it's not going to give us what we need. We have people power. We just lack military. It's going to have to be the Middle East again.
Arms race.
Build up our military forces here. And try and turn the Middle East red. So we might be able to get Muammar al-Gaddafi to rise up. Which would actually help us a lot. Nice. There we go, Muammar Gaddafi. Here we go. Try to bring Libya under our control completely, and I think that's doable. He fell from power. Wow, he was assassinated. So there you go. The enemy assassinated him. You guys just saw that. Immediately assassinated by the CIA. He had 3 more influence points to spend. That hurts, man. That's no fun. But I like that. That's definitely a challenge there. So the CIA is getting really good at killing off our leaders quite quickly. They don't want us to have any influence, and I can't blame them. After all, they've got to win. I'm going to do a false flag attack over here in Morocco and try to bring them under our control as well, so that we kind of control all ends of the Middle East, if that makes sense. All right, so the USA has finally launched their satellite, and this wouldn't make any sense. In 1981, they launched their satellite? That would be a weird world. Certainly wouldn't have iPhones, iPods, and just about anything that we have today. What do I want to do? Morocco's actually quite hard to turn. It was the 30% chance, I should say, of actually having a false flag attack succeed. But it looks like the U.S. is now moving up on the space race. Let's see if we can stay a step ahead of them. I believe we can. Let's go ahead and launch the first human in space.
Our first man into space.
Glory to the Soviet space race. I was going to say Soviet space program, but I sort of got caught up on the words there. All right, space rendezvous. Wow.
We have completed our first rendezvous in space.
Wow, guys. So I think that's all together. That's 10 victory points. That's really good. I don't think I've ever done that well. We can also go ahead and start researching the intercontinental bomber.
Our bomber commands can now deliver nuclear
Nice.
strikes.
And this is because of our military focus. So we really do want to keep boosting that military focus as we go along. As for our tanks, I'm actually going to move them into other areas of Africa that, to them, communism is somewhat more appetizing. The Congo, Zaire. All right. So they've also put their first human in space. They're trying to catch up as well. I can see what they're doing here.
Disarmament.
Okay, yeah, I was worried about that. And they have also done the first intercontinental or I should say space meeting. Very, very interesting. So at this point, they've also gained 10 victory points. That's too bad. That kind of puts our ability to win here. It lowers it, and they've also taken away a lot of influence here in East Asia. So we're going to have to bring these areas under our sphere of influence again. Mongolia as well. Let's see. So much closer, though, than it usually is. I don't know if that's from Strategy Mill updating the game or me playing better. I honestly don't know, but that's much closer. You know, usually it's like the USSR is like 20 and US has 65 or something like that. Thank you, David. Remember the influence threshold? 21% you get presence, 1 victory points. 51% you get control, 2 victory points. Interesting. 91% you get dominance, 3 victory points. Oh, very cool. That's very, very helpful. Makes sense. Strategy Mill says, slipped in the shower. Poor Jay signed the CIA. Slipped in the shower. And what happened to Gaddafi? He got killed way too early. I guess the desert is not gonna turn green again. It's not gonna happen. Luxurious exile. Okay, so they're talking about Idi Amin here. During his rule, he devastated the Ugandan economy and alienated almost every fiend down to a handful. At dawn, despite massive amounts of military aid over the years, Amin's soldiers proved almost useless in combat. Fleeing to a royal welcome in Saudi Arabia, Idi Amin Dada seems set for a life of luxury, never to face justice for his crimes. I did not commit any crimes. This is such lie all the time. This because you know the America and the British, they come and say me that I am the one killing my people. This is make lying. This is make lying. I do not make killing of anybody. I am friend of all Africa. Do not worry. And also, I am also ruler of the British Empire. So keep this in mind. I have not committed any crime. I don't know what they're talking about. Total nonsense, lies. Shame on you, Strategy Mill. I will not send you fruits. Your people starve. Hello, Bostova. Strategy Mill says those desert showers equally slippery. Yes, desert showers. Very cool, man. All right, let's get over here. So we could get Idi Amin. I don't think we can get him to rise up because he's now in Saudi Arabia. We've got a few potential possibilities here, and one of them is to get Enver Hoxha to actually rise up. I'm going to try to influence Italy. Bring Italy under our control. Viva Italia! Il Partiti Comunisti. And that's actually a major point of control for the Allies there, so this is good that we've taken that. And if you guys take a look at what David put there, it's really useful. It's basically like the threshold, like how many victory points you're going to be gaining from each region depending on your control. So that definitely leads me to believe in future games, even though certain regions might be like impossible to attain, I might still try to dominate them just to take away some control from the West. Because some of the regions like North America and, you know, the Oceanian area, Pacific Zone, they're just like totally under Western domination. But I'm thinking maybe it's a good idea to still try and change things there. All right, let's see if we can do some false flag attacks. Alex Ravisky says it's happening. Twilight Struggle. Yes, 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 yes. Twilight Struggle is similar to this, definitely. But this is, I think this is different. 58-66. Oh, man, we're so close, too. It's going to be the 1991 timeline. We're getting close to the end of the Cold War, my friends. And we wouldn't win a nuclear war. So we need both government and military. It leaves us in a very difficult position. We're going to have to go for the arms race here in Western Europe. I think that's going to be the only thing we can really do here. Let's bring in some troops through Greece and potentially take that. And it looks like they finally took their next step in the space race. I don't think we're going to be able to do the same thing, but we'll still try. Let's jump into the space race here. I think we're lacking... Yeah, we're definitely lacking something. Oh, no! Wow, the West attacked us. Now, we actually defended them. We actually managed to beat the West and France, but they attacked unprovoked. I mean, we just had our military in their country. I don't see why they would attack us. That doesn't make any sense to me. David says, I challenge you to a match. We can definitely do a match in the future. I got to get out of here in about 15 minutes to go to a doctor's appointment, but I would love to do a match with you or Strategy Mill, or you guys. You could just represent Strategy Mill here on the channel. I think that'd be really cool. You're gonna totally crush me though. I think we have to have some caveats since you guys actually developed the game. I think one of the caveats is I get to play as the West. I get to play as the West, definitely, because it's much easier to win as the West. So I think that would be a real challenge for you guys. See if you guys could beat me as the Soviet Union. All right, the USA has taken a prestigious step in the space race, earning 7 victory points. They're now ahead of us in the space race. That's just too bad, man. We're so close, but no cigar, unfortunately. Another thing I want to do is let's take a look at Southeast Asia here because it's got this ability for the peace and love, the regime of peace and love. And we also want to bring Afghanistan under the fold. Although we're running out of people power. Now, usually I run out of people power quite early on with the Soviets, but in this game, we had people power almost the entire time. So I'm glad for that. I think we've just fallen too far behind. Alex says, I think we're about 20 years late for anything to happen in France. Yeah, I think so. What a tragedy. Okay, let's do the moon landing.
We have successfully landed a man on the moon.
Glorious. The hammer and sickle flies above the moon. And we can also do the International Space Station.
We have built and launched a space station.
Now I think we've run out. You can see our like resources over here. We have used everything to try and jump ahead of the US. So if this doesn't work, nothing will, put it that way. Okay, they've done the same thing. They've now got an International Space Station as well. Okay, guys, let's see. The VP... I think this is the last turn. So close. It's so close. They still have, it's because of that Central American theater control. I should have had Fidel rise up in Central America, but I tend to ignore Central America just because it's got so much Western dominance, and we shouldn't have ignored it. I think if we had Central America on this one, we would probably win. Probably. Let's do done. This was my closest to a Soviet victory. I'm definitely going to focus on Africa here. And we're going to do government. So let's get Zaire finally to have their revolution. Saddam Hussein has risen to power in the Middle East, and this is a Western puppet, of course. That's not good. It's a cause for concern. We could actually attack Iraq with this tank. I believe that might trigger all-out war. Maybe not, and maybe we could just wipe out Saddam like this. Let's go for it. We definitely took down his influence. That's pretty cool. So I think Saddam is going to fall from power very, very quickly. We'll actually have some tanks in the Leviathan zone so we can attack from either side, from either Iran or Israel-Palestine. And Suharto has risen to power in the Pacific. Yeah, that's gonna suck. In the Pacific, I think the Pacific and North America is where the U.S. has the most dominance from what I've seen. Oh, we don't have people power. We just ran out of people power, guys. No, don't lose trust in the possibility of a socialist world. Yeah, there's no way we can attack. Look at the focus management here. We just can't get the strategic defense initiative. We can actually have Fidel rise now, but I think it would be pretty useless. Let's instead have Deng Xiaoping rise up in East Asia. So he can bring some of these communist areas under the fold, although he only has one influence. That's really bad, man. So I'm just going to go ahead, boost power here, but he had very little influence. Hey, Ziriz. Good to see you, man. Ah, you'll win the game if you research the last space race step. Oh, man, we're so close to that. We were so close. Ben Ali has risen to power. And the United States is bombing us. My goodness. I think it's all out war. Yeah, that's too bad, man, because, see, right there. So close to the Strategic Defense Initiative. In fact, I think had we focused on military instead of government for this, we would have won the game, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, man. We're getting closer, though. We're getting a lot closer. Margaret Thatcher has risen to power. Yeah, they're going to have Western Europe completely under their control. Another attack by the Americans. Our tanks are fighting back. And I think we managed to beat them, but wow. They're getting very aggressive here. Let's jump to Africa. Still a few things we could do here. No, the people power. I don't think the people believe in the revolution anymore, guys. I doubt this is going to do anything, but we'll have Fidel rise up. And again, he's going to have very little influence. There's just one because the Western influence in Cuba is huge. Batista pretty much became a monarch, is what happened. Oh, war zone declaration. No, we don't want to do that. Never mind. It's too early for, or too late for that, I should say. Socialist fraternity's not going to do a damn thing here. Just trying to pass time at this point. Okay, let's see if we can just go ahead and increase influence. I don't think so, though. So frustrated by that. I really think we could have gotten a victory. David says, we're getting close to a space race win is a good way to attract enemy nukes. Oh, maybe that's why they're bombing us. That would make sense. Okay, Benazir Bhutto has risen to power in Pakistan. Fidel Castro's fallen from power, no surprise there, just because of the massive Western influence here. Oh, yeah, I think that's going to be Western victory, if I'm not mistaken. So close, man, so close. That's the closest I have been with the Soviets. Defeat. Greetings, everybody. Oh, no! Alright, well, we tried our best. We really did. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. I definitely want to play David here. So, guys, we have pretty much Strategy Mill has actually decided, well, I should say David has decided, but I want to make this sound a bit more dramatic, for us to do a versus match. And I think these guys are going to have no issues beating me. But to make things a little more difficult for them, I'll play as the West, and they'll play as the East. Probably sometime this week, we'll work something out. I think that would be a really fun video. I'll make sure to also let you guys know in advance so that we can actually set up sort of a schedule. But thank you, everybody, for showing up. I really appreciate it. I like how with these YouTube videos, everybody seems to show up to the stream, and that makes me happy. But unfortunately, not everybody shows up to the Twitch stream. Guys like Icon Rostov here do. I really appreciate that. Please, guys, subscribe to me on Twitch. That's where most of the streams are going to be happening in the future. Even though we are going to do the occasional YouTube stream, that's really where most of our stuff is going to be posted in terms of live stuff. Thank you again, guys, and thank you, Strategy Mill, for stopping by, David for stopping by, and checking out the Let's Play. I think next time I might just be able to get a space race victory with the Soviets. Take care, my friends.